What's up, everybody? Welcome to my official 2024 In the Bag. It's my third season on Team Discmania, finally taking you guys what I carry on the course. Big shout out to Discmania. They make all the discs that I carry. Can't endorse the product enough. And also to Disc Golf 978 and Sedgley Glow. Every disc in my bag I will put link down below on Disc Golf 978 if it's available. If not, I'll have the Discmania link as well. But shop local, throw Discmania. Let's get into the bag. We'll start up top here. Everything up here is my baseline discs. And of course the money makers. Every pro disc golfer's best friends, the putting putters. I carry the D-Line Flex 2 Rainmaker. These are the prototype original release from the mystery box, and I believe 2021. One of the first putters that I ever felt from Discmania. I always wanted something a little bit shallower than say a P2, and these discs just came into my hand at the right time. I don't really like to switch up my discs too often, so once I got these, I love the feel of them. Started putting and learning with them right away, and haven't looked back since. So been almost a 3-year relationship with these guys, and hopefully it doesn't end anytime soon. I've got a third Rainmaker in here. This is actually an old putter that is converted and is now in its next phase in the bag as a thrower. I use it for just flippy approaches, occasional putts when I need a flippy putter, but it's very, very rare. I mean, even from long circle 2, I'll still use my actual putters. But just any like touch, little annies, or just little up shots by the green, flippy putter, great friend in the woods. Last disc up here, we've got a soft tactic. Especially being in the New England woods, having a soft approach disc can be a cheat code at times, and the tactic is by far my favorite. The soft tactic is right in that happy medium range for me where I get good grip, but also a nice little sit by the basket. I use it for backhands, forehands, pretty much anything under 250. If it goes left or right, I'm using the tactic. Now to the main compartment. One of my favorite discs in the bag, the P2. I've got 2 of them. One is a Glow C-Line, the other is a Sky God 4. It's pretty simple. This Glow C-Line is very beat up. You can hyzer flip it to pretty much a dead straight shot. It's definitely my workhorse, my staple, my baby, if you want to call it that. I lean on this disc so much and pretty much use it for every single round I play. So good straight premium plastic throwing putter. This disc is probably my best friend in my bag. Every flippy disc needs its stable complement, and that's where the Sky God 4 comes into play. Can throw it basically the same way, but just instead of a straight flight, I'm expecting a little dump at the end. Very reliable. Sky God 4 just fits it perfectly for me. One more disc, I guess, in the putter category. We've got the Spore. This is the Cloudstone Lux Vapor variety. I never really intended on bagging this disc, and I still don't really throw it all the time, but I use it for catch warm-up. I use it for little touch-up shots. Where it really comes into play is doubles, because if I'm 100 feet from the basket and my partner is parked, I'm not just gonna putt at it, I'm gonna take this thing, and I've got a lot of throw-ins with this disc. Doesn't see too much tournament action. If I'm off in the woods and I just need a little wrist flick, this disc is normally the one I'm going for. Sometimes, especially playing a wooded course, you just feel like you need a Spore. Now to the mid-ranges, and my go-to is the Method. Once again, I've got 2 of them. Starting off here with the Lux Method. This one obviously beat up, old. It's a hyzer flip machine. What's great about the Method is even though it flips up quick, it really has good integrity to it. I feel like just anytime I have a tunnel shot of mid-range distance, this is the one I'm going to, and it's done me so well. I'd be devastated if I lost this exact disc right here because it's just right at that perfect spot. And you'll see a common theme in my bag. I oftentimes have that stable complement. This is the Primal Run Method, kind of a special version of that. I believe it's more of a Shadow Titan prototype. They're a little bit more durable, a little bit more stable out of the box. And I'm down to my last few of these, and I don't know where else I could get them, so just need them for those stable mid-range shots. And last but not least, in my mid-range lineup, we have the MD5. This is quickly becoming maybe my most thrown disc on the course. It's so reliable. It's in that perfect speed where you can use it for a lot of different ranges. I found myself really liking to backhand this disc and forehand it alike. Love a small diameter mid, especially a stable one. For any approach shot that calls for a little bit more than a tactic, this is the guy, MB5. Moving on to the 7 speeds here. Discmania bag. In the woods, got to have the FD. Once again, I've got 2. Got this old Night Strike 2, super flat, super flippy at this point. It's almost time to change this one out. But right now, it's just great for those super hyzer flips. I can even get it to flip all the way from a hyzer angle to a turn. I just need that disc for my game, and the Night Strike 2 is the one that answers that call every single time. Of course, we gotta have the stable complement. This is the Harry Chace right here, Glow FD. This run is awesome. It's very different from your traditional FD. Starts off a bit more stable out of the box, but as you can see, this one is pretty seasoned and still has the integrity of a relatively stable FD. I've had this in the bag going strong for 10 months now, and it's pretty much what a C-line FD would be, a little bit seasoned. And this one just lasts a little bit longer. Got my stamp on it, and that glow feel, can't beat it. Probably the other disc in my bag I could never play around without. C-line FD1. This exact stability and speed has been a staple in all my bags going back to pre-sponsored days. And when the FD1 came out, it was better than all of them. As soon as I heard about what Discmania was cooking up with this, I knew it would instantly go in the bag and instantly be a staple. And haven't really looked back. These original C-line FD1s, I cycle them out when I can, but normally I don't have to. I typically just lose them before I have to put in another. C-line FD1, it's great for those pushing hyzer shots, whether in the woods or the open. I go to this one a lot. Next up, we got the newest addition to the bag, and I cannot talk about this disc enough. Vanguard, this year's release, Color Glow C-line. I used to bag a beat up FD3 for this slot, but it just wasn't cutting it when it came to what I wanted for a flip up forehand. And this disc came at the perfect time. Completely changed my forehand. I like to throw forehands with a hyzer release, and this thing just fits the bill perfectly. I wouldn't call this a flip up forehand disc. It's pretty stable still, but what it does differently than a beat up FD3 or maybe a straight run of overstable 9-speed that you know, instead of flipping up quick and fading hard, it flips up slower, it fades less, but it still maintains overstability throughout the flight. So if you were looking for that characteristic, gummy feel, but still a little stiff, relatively flat top, this disc will change your game, I promise you. Vanguard. And to back that up, of course, you gotta have an FD3. This is a bit of a special one. This is a prototype of the C-line FD3. I had to get these all the way from the Europe store, and they're actually still on there. So keep this between you and me. If you're looking for an FAF FD3 of sorts, these are the ones, my favorite that I've found so far. Firm, flat, you know the deal, and prototype FD3 gets the job done. And last 2 discs before we get to the distance drivers, the PD slot. What is it? Is it a fairway? Is it a distance? It's a PD. It's pretty much its own slot. It's the best of both worlds. And I've got 2 of them. Nordic Phenom, my first one. Straighter side for a PD. It's probably my longest, straightest disc. So anytime I'm in the woods with a tunnel shot, touching 400 or longer, this is probably the guy. I also use it for what you might consider an FD shot, but in the open, just a little bit faster, a little bit more stable, a bit more reliable when it comes to wind. And I can shape this disc a lot of different ways. It's a winner for sure. And just about the only run of disc I'm pretty much married to in the Discmania lineup. Grady Shoe PD. Now I talked to Grady about these. He says he never liked them, and I don't know why. The plastic is so premium, such a grippy blend. The stability is just a perfect point for your power throwers PD. It gets a lot of glide for being an overstable PD, and I just use it as my main control driver. Couldn't live without it. All right, now it's on to the big guys. First up, kind of the little brother of the big guys, S-Line DD1. I'd never really thrown an 11 speed before bagging one of these. That's kind of that control driver slot. And once I bagged this, I figured out why so many people do. It's got the same distance nearly as a DD3, but exponentially more control. Anytime I want a distance driver shot in the woods, pretty much go to the DD1. Slightly smaller rim, slightly more confidence, but still that same distance driver power. So DD1, super recommended if you are mostly playing in the woods but still looking for a distance driver. On to the big guys, the DD3s. I've got 3 of them, and first up, easily the longest tenure disc in my bag, this OG DD3 S-Line from one of my first allotments. This guy's 172 grams, definitely considered a bomber DD3. It's slightly too flippy for me to use for your traditional golf shot, but anytime we got a tailwind or a big hyzer flip or an uphill shot, this DD3 will get the call, will get a chance to fly again, but super beat up. I don't even bag it for a lot of tournaments these days, but that's just because I'm playing in New England courses a lot of the time, but once it gets a chance to shine, it shows its true ability, and this thing's got a lot of life still left in it. Easily my most used driver in the bag, we have Wicked Fi 2.0. You've seen a lot of Discmania pros throw this exact run. Day glow color, stiff with a big pop top, and I mean, it just goes Wicked Fi. Seriously though, this disc goes further than any distance driver I've ever used. There's just something about the characteristics that it has, and once you find a good one, you don't want to let it go. This is the one for me right here. And last up in the DD3 lineup, we have this Cloudbreaker 3. Still a bomber, still a DD3. Use it for a lot of max distance shots. Just has a little bit more overstability, a bit more reliability when it comes to pushing out hyzers. Doesn't go quite as far, but when it comes to those one angle hyzers, this is normally the disc I'm going for. The last 3 discs in the bag, all PD2s. This one's barely a PD2 though, if you know anything about the Skyrider. It's a pretty beat up one as well. I use it for forehand only, and it kind of used to be what my Vanguard is now, so I use this disc a little bit less, but still when it comes to open courses, I'm going to have one in the bag. It's going to be my go-to power sidearm disc. One of the biggest surprises of the year, this S-Line PD2, just the stock release. I really love this run. I'm surprised more people don't bag this specific run. Maybe it's just for me, I like a flatter PD2. I found the Skystones to be great, but just a little too domey. You can see this one's still a slight dome, but pretty dang flat for a distance driver. And it's just when I need a overstable distance driver. I'm looking for distance control. I don't necessarily want or need that pop top, and it feels a little bit better on forehand for me too. So this S-Line PD2, I swear, once I put it in the bag, I thought it was gonna beat up a little bit, and then it actually got more stable for a little bit. And now it's pretty much just at its brand new flight again. I mean, it's seasoned, it's been in the bag all year, so loving the durability out of this thing. Go grab you one, S-Line PD2. Rounding out the squad of discs, we've got this PD2, my most stable one. What more can you say about a stable PD2? When I need my most stable disc, this is the one that gets the call. Spike hyzers, some grenades even, a few forehands, but you know, this is kind of the disc that you hope not to use, but I do end up using it a lot. Any spike hyzers with high wind that needs distance control, this is the disc. I did want to mention 3 more discs that aren't always in the bag, but depending on the course, do make an appearance. First one's the Origin. I only have 3 mid-ranges in my bag most of the time, and when you play a heavily wooded course, it's just not enough. So this is the hyzer flipper right here. Shout out Rivas Marcon's Craig Origin. There's not really an exact science, but pretty much when I feel like I need this disc, I need this disc, and for most wooded courses, I end up using it a lot. And the last 2 discs would be my 2 roller discs. First we have this Neo Essence. I wouldn't call it my distance roller disc, but for any placement rollers, this is the one. It's done me great, never really thought about changing it. Don't use it too much so it doesn't get that beat up, but anytime I get the chance to throw a roller, I usually do. And this is normally the guy. And then last but not least, this would be more considered my distance roller disc, Stratosphere DD1. What's different about this disc is I do use it for air shots too. It's kind of one of those discs where you can think about a specific hole, and then this is just the disc. The 2 that come to mind for me are Greater Hartford hole 13 and 501 hole 4 on the blue layout. Uphill, distance driver hole, but through tight woods. So I go with the flippy 11 speed and just kind of sits on the shelf until it gets its call. That's pretty much it. What's in my bag. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite disc was, or maybe even a disc that you were surprised to find in my bag. I'm a person that doesn't change my bag very much, so what you're seeing is what's been in my bag all year and pretty much for all last year too. And once again, check the description for links to all the discs in my bag. If you're shopping at 978, click that specific link, and you can even kick back a few bucks to me and help me out with my tour for next year. Thank you everybody for watching, and see you around on the course soon.